What does the future of synthwave look like?
Maybe this is like kind of a controversial subject, but I've really kind of felt not so much a disconnect, but kind of an inclination to break free of the scene, right? And you see on Twitter like hashtag synthfam and everything else. And I think that there are so many positive aspects to the community and to, the wonderful people of all shades that are part of kind of the synthwave community. But um, I've always wanted to reach a wider audience of people who have never heard of synthwave before and who frankly don't really care. They just want to listen to pop music that makes them feel good. And that's what I've always kind of wanted. And while I'll always consider myself to be a synthwave artist in terms of the Moonrunner stuff. There's elements of what I'm doing and what some of the other artists are doing that are always going to have those synthwave roots. But I really want to break out and reach a wider audience. So I think you're going to see more and more music that might not necessarily kind of fit the traditional synthwave mold still be considered synthwave. And that's really what I want to where I would like to see kind of the scene, quote unquote, go is to incorporate a broader uh, palette of flavors of synth based music. Is that going to happen? I mean, it's yeah. I really don't know. There's a lot of a lot of chatter on Twitter where if you're not a purist or if you've done a pop song, it's no longer synthwave. But I don't know. I guess it gets into the deeper argument of what is synthwave, right? I mean, is it subjective? Is it an objective quality or objective qualities? I don't know. But I really want I really want people on the lake that are out wakeboarding to be listening to it, not even knowing that they're listening to synthwave, just being like, "Oh, I like this Moonrunner guy. He kind of reminds me of being a kid," or this Moonrunner stuff. It makes me happy. And I listen to hip hop, but my buddy listens to metal. But we both like Moonrunner. We can both kind of connect over this kind of style of music. So I'd like to bring synthwave to more people, whether it's under that label or not, whether it's just synth pop or pop music or, yeah. So I kind of hope that the future holds more diversity, I suppose, in terms of the music itself.
You've spoken so much about your creative process and what it takes to be a little bit more unique with creating something, especially with electronic music. Do you have any other tips for up and coming artists, whether it's social media or it's production or songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, I get asked this a lot. I mean, I it's there are a million, obviously like tutorial productions online and social media kind of tutorials, and how do you get signed, or how do you become a successful musician? And I mean, even now, I don't necessarily, success is such a subjective thing as well, right? I mean, am I successful in synthwave? Well, I don't know. Is that based on listeners? Is that based on, the one guy in Holland that really likes my music and sings it with his kids? Is it having, 20,000 monthlies on Spotify? Or is it being like a top 40 guy where you got 75 million monthlies on Spotify? I think success is what you want to make out of it. And you really need to focus on your songs and the music. That obviously comes first. Second is production. And that's not to say that you need to have super crystal clear, amazing production, especially if that's not what you're going for. But you need to focus on what you want your sound how you want your sound to be produced. I mean, crystal clear production might be completely inappropriate if you're a lo-fi producer, right? So you want to really develop a unique production sound that sounds like you and no one else. I mean, when I listen to a Time Cop song, I know I'm listening to Time Cop. Like, I don't need to see his name on my screen to know that I'm listening to Time Cop. And that's a really unique quality that it takes time to develop. I'd like to think that when a Moonrunner song comes up, People know it's a Moonrunner track because of the production, because of the drum kit. The drum kit's the same all the time, because of how the vocals are produced. Which frankly is just how I want to hear them. I mean, I'm making music that I want to listen to. I mean, I like wide vocals during choruses, so I do it. And if people don't like that, then that's fine. That's kind of what I like. So yeah, so focus on the music, focus on the production, and then focus on getting people to listen to your music if that's important to you. And if it's not, and you get fulfillment out of making music, as I did for a long time for like my wife and like my cats and like my mom, and like a couple people in a crappy bar in like downtown Calgary, I mean, that's cool too. So set goals and try to meet those goals and keep them realistic. I mean, we're not all going to be, selling out, multi-million dollar venues with billions of people listening and being played on the radio. Set more realistic goals. I think that's important. So, write a song, finish a song, mix it so it sounds the way that you want it to sound. And if it doesn't, spend the time and work on it to get it to where it does. I mean, it took me 15 or 20 years to get songs to sound where I didn't listen to them and think that they sounded like crap. So, and you're your own worst critic as well. That's another big tip: is don't focus on your snare for 100 years, man. It sounds good. I'm telling you, your snare sounds fine. Focus on the big picture, because that's really what, listen to your music as though you're somebody that's listening to it. I love having my wife come in and listen to songs, because I mean, I'll go down the rabbit hole of production working on some stupid bell sound that I've been banging away at all night, and I'll bring my wife down and she'll be like, I like this song, sounds good. And I mean, and that's fine. And that's what other people are going to hear. I mean, not going to be like, hey, well, how does that bell sound? Does that sound great? And she'll be like, well, what's the bell? Boom. The bell doesn't matter, man. Your snare doesn't matter. The overall product matters. So yeah, focus on the big stuff, set goals and set reasonable goals. I'm always amazed. And, I got a message when this is kind of a cool story. I got a message when I first started Moonrunner and produced Datsun before. I mean, people started really listening to Moonrunner after Streets came out. Datsun, I was still kind of a nobody in the scene. I had, maybe 100 people listening to Datsun. And I got a message from this guy in Russia. And I still have it. It's like this weird voice message, and he's got this thick Russian accent, but it's in English. And he was some guy in St. Petersburg, and he sent me a voice message to say that he had heard the song By Your Side, which is the last song on Datsun. And it's actually probably my least favorite Moonrunner song. It probably shouldn't have even made it onto the record. And he said he was in thick traffic in St. Petersburg in rush hour traffic, and he heard By Your Side blasting from another car in rush hour traffic. And he's like, I just wanted to tell you that I just heard this coming from some other car. And he said, isn't this amazing that your song is being played in rush hour traffic on a city on the other side of the planet? And I thought, holy shit, that's actually the coolest thing ever. And like, he was probably one of only 100 people that were listening to me. So him and this other guy in traffic, and that he recognized that song coming from some other car. I also had a message from an older DJ in Brazil around the same time as Datsun. Some guy just messaged me on Instagram and said, I listened to this record and it reminded me of being young and it made me cry. And it was like, it's crazy, man. I don't know. It still makes me emotional just kind of thinking about that. But, if your music can reach out and touch one person that profoundly, that's it, man. That's what it's all about.
That makes it totally worth it too. It really does. When you can,
man, I still have that message. Like, I still have that message, and it still makes me like emotional thinking that some dude in Brazil is like listening to Datsun and it reminded him of being young and it made him cry. I mean, that's music.
Nice.